This video is going to go over the Chapter 4 exercise. It begins on page 4.4 with restoring the Chapter 4 backup file located on the CD in the back of your text, or you can download from the website. And then after you've restored the CD, you'll want to be, restored the Chapter 4 data file, you'll want to be on page 4.6. So I'm going to open or restore a company. I'm going to restore a backup file, and next it is stored locally because I've already placed it on my own hard drive. I'm going to find the Chapter 4 data file, and I'm going to go ahead and restore it, giving it a name with my name and saving it. After it's restored the data, if it does prompt you for a password, it would be the username of admin with a password of just leaving the password blank. So here's where it's prompted me for a password. I'm going to go ahead and just click OK. And then it's going to finish the restore process. And so yes, I want to update the company file. And I'm going to pause. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And it should open the file up. This chapter is about customers and sales. And when it begins on page, like I said, 4.6, we're going to go from the home screen to the customers window. So I'm on home. I'm going to go ahead and click customers. I'll maximize my home window. Dump my accountant center. Or close it, I should say. And in customers, I want it to go to the customer center. So from the icon bar, I'm going to choose customers. That should take me straight there. Notice the two jobs that are listed for Brian Cook. So if I come down through my different customers and I find Brian Cook, you can see how he has a second story addition and a kitchen. I just want you to observe how he has multiple jobs attached to the same customer. Notice the customer and jobs list over here on the left hand side lists the customer's name, the job name, and the balance that's due for each customer. See how Heather Campbell owes $13,900, or here Robert Allard owes $14,510. So it tells us the amount due over there. If we want to view additional information about a customer or a job, then the customer or job window will open. So like here, when I've actually clicked on the remodel job, then the remodel window is going to open over here. Or here, when I go to Brian Cook, that second story addition, I can see over here all the different things that have happened, the cash that has come in and gone out for that particular job because I've selected it in the left hand side. I'm going to go ahead and put a new customer and job in. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the new customer button up toward the upper left hand corner of that pane, and I'm going to go ahead and click new customer. This guy's name is Tom Whalen, so I'm going to enter that in. He is Mr. Tom Whalen. Whoops. I'm using the tab key to move from one part of the one text box to the next text box. That can often be faster. His main phone number, I'm going to enter, and these are all on page 4.8. And his looks like mobile phone number. Notice when I enter them in, I personally don't put dashes in. You can do whichever you want. Down here in the invoice bill to, I'm going to go ahead, I enter after his name, and then go ahead and type in his address. If my ship to address is the same, then I'm going to go ahead and click this copy button here, and this is going to move the billing address to the ship to address. I'm just going to click OK and see how it moved it over here to the right hand side. Notice that that box is checked right below it, telling me that that's the default ship address. There's different tabs for this down the left hand side. I've been on address info. I'm going to go ahead and click on payment settings, and then I can go ahead and enter in the account number that I want to use. I can enter in the credit limit that I've offered him. His terms are going to be net 30. Notice that's a drop down. However, I just started to type and it automatically filled it in. For me, that's faster. For some people, they would prefer to click the drop down. His preferred payment method is he's usually going to pay by check. Again, notice these tabs over here on the left. I want to then take a look at his sales tax settings. Um, it is taxable in San Tomas. That would be the county that we've set up. And it looks like that defaulted in. So that's the default for me. Under additional information, it is a residential job. Again, I just started to type and it automatically filled it in. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, when he enters in, notice he entered in here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on it. And I'm going to choose to resort the list. And I'm sure I want to return the list to its original order. And that's going to plop Tom Whalen down in the W's. Now I realize that I have some more address information for him that I did not input. So I'm going to right click on top of him and I'm just going to choose Edit Customer. And that's going to open that window right back up. And so now I have his email address. I'm on page 4.11. So I'm going to go ahead and put in his main email. And that's the only new thing that I have, and then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I always have the ability to right click on any customer and choose Edit Customer in order to bring that window back up and have new information about him. Now what that did is added the customer, but it did not add the specific job. So I've got Tom Whalen selected over here on the left. That's very important that I have him selected. And I'm going to come up to this new customer and job drop down again, but this time I'm going to choose Add Job. And that's going to open up that same window, but I've got that. I'm going to go ahead and put a job up there. And this job is a screen porch. And it has a opening balance of 0, so he doesn't owe me, doesn't owe me anything at this point in time. And I'm going to do this today's date, so 12/15. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on the job info over here on the left. The job description is again screen porch. The job type is a remodel. The job status is that it's pending. I put in the start date. I'm anticipating starting this on February 1st of 2018, and I'm anticipating ending it on March 15th of 2018, or that's my projected end date. And that's all the information I have. I'm not going to enter the real end date until the job is finished. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I've got another job for Mike Whalen. This time I'm going to right click on his name and choose Add Job in order to open up that job window. He also wants me to go ahead and replace his screen door. So I'm going to put a job name of exterior door and an opening balance of 0. Under the job info, I'm going to give a more descriptive job name. Replace screen exterior door. The job type is going to be repairs. The job status is awarded. I'm anticipating starting this on 12/15, and I'm projecting that it would end on 12/18. That's all the information I have, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. That's going to notice now how Tom has both the exterior door and the screen door. I can see they both have a balance of 0. And then I'm going to go ahead and close the Customer Center window. This is going to take me back to that home window underneath. Then if I jumped all the way up to page 414, really 415, I have some money that came in from another customer on a job. I have a customer who came in and he paid $10 cash for some extra cabinet pulls. So this isn't a job that I already have recorded anywhere. This is just a cash sale. He came in, he needed the equipment. So from my Customer Center, I'm going to go to Enter Sales Receipts to enter in that cash sale. It's probably going to ask me if I want to do, or if it does ask you if you want to do any type of a payment interview, you're going to go ahead and select no. So I'm going to enter in the customer's name. And it looks like he's been here before because as soon as I started to type his name, he did pop up. So he is an existing customer. And the date that he did this is today, 12/15/2017, which it has defaulted into. He paid cash. So over here under payment method, I'm going to switch it from the default of MasterCard to cash. It was cabinet pulls. And notice how when I put in selected cabinet pulls, it automatically filled in the description. It automatically filled in a quantity of 1. I charged him $10, so I went ahead and entered in the $10. Notice it automatically subtotaled it out. 1 times 10 is 10. It knew that the item was taxable. Notice down here at the bottom how it added the 78 cents tax. It knew that his tax code should be San Thomas. It's probably a county tax code. If I'm going to print this form, I'm going to could put some type of a customer message on here. It's been a pleasure working with you. Looks like I've typed that one before, so it automatically filled in. And I'm going to go ahead and check the box to print this one later. Then I'm going to go ahead, and that is the only one I have. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it real quick. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click the print preview. So I click the drop down next to print and choose preview. And that's going to open that up. It's going to look like this. If this was an assignment that I had to turn in, then I would click that drop down and I would choose Save as PDF. And that would allow me then to give that sales receipt a name so that I could upload it for my Dropbox. We can customize the look of that invoice from the print preview screen. They talk about that on the bottom of 415 and the top of 416. If you wanted to do that, you want to go into the print preview so it opens back up, and then you want to go ahead from there. Let me move that over into what I'm recording. From the print preview, you want to go ahead and select the formatting tab. Oh, excuse me, not from the print preview, but from this the sales receipt window. You want to go ahead and click on the formatting tab. And I'm going to go ahead and change on the company name, I'm going to go ahead and change the font to 10. So when I click on the Customize Data Layout window, it opens up this additional customization window, and I'm looking for the font for the company name. So as I scroll through here to find company name, Basic Customization will bring up yet another dialog box, and from there I should be able to find the company name and be able to change the font from 12 to 10 point. I'm going to go ahead and click back through that, or OK through those items. And now if I were to take a look at the print preview, back on the main tab, print preview, I should actually see that my company name here is actually smaller. It's for a 10-point font rather than a 12-point font. I'm going to go ahead, and if I was actually going to need this receipt, I would actually print it at this point. As I said, if it was for class, we would save it as a PDF. And since I don't need it, I'm going to go ahead and close it. And that will return me back to the home window. Next, I have a Tom Whalen. We're back to Tom Whalen, and we have finished the exterior door, or we've started to work on it at any rate, and we're going to go ahead and create an invoice for the work that we've done. To do this, I'm going to, from the home area in the Customer Center, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Invoices, and that invoice is going to open up. And I can choose a template to actually use. It's possible for me to have different templates for my invoice, different printed invoicing styles, and that template that should default into Rock Castle, but if it doesn't, you'll want to go ahead and change it right there in that template drop down. Then I need to go ahead and select enter in the customer and the job. So I'm going to go ahead through this drop down, and I don't want to scroll all day, so I'm going to start to type. That took me to Whalen, and this is his exterior door. So that's the job that I've chosen. Notice over here on the right hand side, it's entered in the customer information for me, so that stuff will automatically feed into the invoice. Today's date is 12/15, and my invoice number is 1100. That defaulted in, knowing that's the invoice that I'm on. The item I'm working on is repairs. Again, I'm going to just start to type that in. Notice it automatically came in with the description of repair work. I put 1 for the quantity. It's $35 per hour. And notice it automatically came out to 35. And notice that labor is non-taxable. And the program already knew that. That's because of where the item of how I actually set up the item for repairs. I'm going to go ahead and right click to display the pop-up up menu, and I'm going to mark the invoice as pending. Notice that automatically it came up with a pending non-posting invoice. So in other words, I know I have more information coming later, but I've just gone ahead and drafted this so that I don't forget that this piece of it is done. Then I'm going to go ahead and save and close. Later, the construction crew comes back and says, okay, well, now we've finished it completely and we've got some more to put on there. So I can go back into create invoices. I can, if it was created quite a while ago, I could go through the find, which will bring up this dialog box and let me put in a customer or a invoice number, or even search through a date range. However, in my cases, it's the last one I worked on. So if I simply click the left arrow, it should automatically take me back to invoice 1100. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in the additional work. So it looks like we've got the exterior wood door, and we sold one of those for $120. Automatically filled in the 120, automatically filled in that it was taxable. We also have the repair work for 4 hours. Now, as I glance at this, it's a little confusing to me whether it should be 4 hours total or whether it should be an additional 4 hours with the 1 hour I already have there. But I know that from the next page that my total that the author's anticipating is $304.30. So let's see what happens if I just change this to 4 hours. Notice immediately it came up to 304, but I'd already had this one in here earlier, so I think this one is supposed to stay, and I have an additional 4 hours, so that $35 for repair work, $120 taxable for the exterior wood door, and then an additional $140 for repairs. This should make my invoice total $304.30. I'm now done with this invoice, so I can right click on it and choose to mark the invoice as final. Again, if I wanted to see what the invoice looked like, I could go into a print preview, which would open up in another window. I could take a look at it and print it if that was my goal. For class, I would simply click the drop down arrow and choose Save as PDF if I was requested or required to turn in an invoice. Once you're done with it, you can go ahead and click the Save and Close. I've changed the transaction. Do I want to record the changes? Yes, I do. Sometimes a customer would prefer that you, in this day and age, that you email the invoice rather than mail it through the regular mail. So I'm going to go back into Create Invoices, and again, just go back one. So here's my invoice number 1100. Next to print, there is an email button, and notice I can email the invoice or a batch. Batch would be maybe I'd done 10 or 15 invoices, and now I wanted to just email all of them. It might go to different people. That's fine because it's looking for the email address I have stored with the customer. But I think it's more common that you would probably email an invoice. So you would simply choose invoice there. Don't actually do this. We don't have any of the this is not an Outlook class. I don't know what mail provider you're using. I would actually have to let QuickBooks know what email program I was using. They simply talk about it on page 420, so you have an idea, or at least that you realize that you can email the invoices rather than printing them. On page 421, they talk about reminder statements. So to look at those, we're going to go ahead and again, under the Customer Center, we're going to go ahead and click on Statements. And we need to select a template. We're using the Intuit Standard template. That's fine. The date of the statement we want to print is 12/16/2007. And the period that we want to be included on that statement is 11/17 to 12/16. So notice how I've changed both the statement date and the statement period. Now I could do this for all customers, but in this case I want to do it simply for one customer, and the customer I want to do this for is Tom Whalen. He wins again. I actually only need to send him a statement for his exterior door. So once I found him, notice how I can click that drop down and choose which of the jobs I want. I want to create one statement per job. So I'm going to go ahead in the additional options and I'm going to check to create one statement per job. And then I'm going to print the due date on the transactions. That one's already checked. I'm going to click print, and that would open up a print window. Or for class, if I had to turn this in, I would have to preview. This isn't one that the program allows me to save as a PDF without additional software. If I was required to turn this in, I would want to hit print screen on my screen in order to save a picture of it and then paste it into either Paint or Word, something that that I could upload to the Dropbox. I don't actually need to do it in this case, so I'm simply going to close, and then I'm going to go ahead and close the statements window as well. This should return me to the home. On page 423, I'm going to look at receiving actual payments. So now I open up my mail, and lo and behold, there's a check from Tom Whalen. So now I'm still in that customer center. I need to acknowledge that I received the payment and attach it to the job. So I received it from Tom Whalen, and it was specifically for his exterior door. So I'm going to go ahead and tag that as the job. After you've selected the customer and the job, then you want to go ahead and put in the date that was actually received. We received this payment on 12/17 of 2017. And the should automatically fill in once we check that it was for invoice number 1100 down here, automatically fill in the amount here. Now, if we received a partial payment, we'd have to lower this amount. Like if he'd only sent $200, I'd have to lower the amount so that it reflected that he still had a $104.30 balance. But he did send the check for the full amount. He sent in check number 1005, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in the check number. And so now I've completed it. So I've said that I received a check for him from $304 and I applied it all toward the invoice 1100. That was the full amount of the invoice, so it's all good. Save and close. Now I'm ready to actually record my deposit to the bank. So I had somebody come in and make a customer sale, a cash sale, and then Tom Whalen mailed a check. So I'm over here in banking area and I'm going to go ahead and record deposits. I'm going to find the deposits that I want to take to the bank. I want to take this one and this one. So I go ahead and make sure that those two are checked. I'm going to go ahead and make sure, go ahead and click the OK button, and then it's going to ask me which of my bank accounts I want to deposit it to. I want to deposit it to my checking, which is already selected. I'm going to do that on 12/17. If I wanted to print for my own records, I would probably want to print some type of a deposit summary. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click the arrow next to the print button. Then it asks me what I want to print, deposit summary or deposit slip. And of course, if I needed to, I would actually print that item. And then once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and save and close. What I might actually want to print for the course would be more likely to be the journal entries that are reflected. I'm going to do that through the reports menu. So I'm going to go ahead to the report center. So I'm going to go ahead and click on reports. In this case, I want under accountant and taxes category. I'm looking for and I'm just going to go ahead and maximize that. I'm looking for the journal. So here's the journal. I'm just click run myself, and then excuse me, it brings up the journal for this month to date, and I don't want it for the whole time. I want to run it only for 12/15 to 12/17. That date range is specified in the text, so I go ahead and enter it in so that I have that report only for those 2-3 days. And then I'm going to go ahead and customize it a little further. I want to see only the items that were for Tom Whalen. So under Customize Report, I'm going to select a filter of name. And I want to see only Tom Whalen. I'm going to have to scroll down there. There he is. As a matter of fact, yeah, I want to see everything that he did, not just I could have chosen just a job, but I chose just him. And now when I click OK, I should see only the things that came in for Tom Whalen. Now some of this stuff cuts off, so if I wanted to, I could go ahead and widen some of these columns like this one so that I can see more of what's in that column or everything that's in that column. I can adjust it accordingly, similar to adjusting it in Excel. And if I was going to widen some columns, I may want to make sure that I shrink some other columns so that it all still fits on the screen. If this is what I needed to turn in for my assignment, I would do File, Save as PDF. If I needed to just print it for my own personal files, I would simply print. Another report that you can look at are some of the customer reports. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one. I'm still in the report center, but this time instead of under accountant and taxes, I'm going to go ahead and go up to customers and receivables. Each of these reports is discussed beginning on page 4.27. One report you may look at is the accounts receivable aging summary. This is a report that's going to let me see the actual age of those people who owe me who owe money. In other words, how long they've owed me that money. So I'm going to go ahead and find the AR Aging Summary Report and run it. I want to see it for today only, which is what it defaulted in as. So this is the amount that each customer who owes me money owes. If a customer owed me money on multiple jobs, it would show me, and I'm trying to see, here we go, Brian Cook, he owes me something for his second story addition and something else for his kitchen, so it's totaling that. So it's not just showing me each customer, but also specifically to the job. So these are the current ones, and these are the people who are 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, etc., days overdue. If I come down to my total, I can see that while I do have accounts receivable totaling over $93,000, they're all in the current column. Another report I might want to look at would be my Open Invoices report. So I'm going to find that report and run it. Again, I want to run it for today. This is going to show me all customers who have open balances. I can again widen columns, so if you can see here where the class is being chopped off, I may want to widen that if necessary. Here I'm not using purchase order. I may want to shrink that down. I could customize this report to where I didn't even show that column on it. Again, that total, if I came all the way down, is coming out to be $93,007.93 in open invoices. I'm going to go ahead and close that report. Then they talk about the collections report. This is going to show me everybody who has overdue balances. Okay, so I'm going to find that collections report and run it. Again, I want to run it for today, and I don't have anybody with an overdue balance. Another report that I might look at over in my profit and loss area, I might look specifically at the profit and loss or the income by customer summary. So now I'm coming over, changing my category to company and financial. And I want to see not just a standard profit and loss, but I want to see a profit and loss by customer summary. An income by customer summary report. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and this is actually showing me how much income I've had by each individual customer. I could change the sort order of it. You can just simply come up here into the sort, where it's sorting by the default, and I could choose to sort it by the total. And then this little button right here will change it from A to Z to Z to A. So this is showing me the person who I've made the most money from. If I switch it to A to Z, here's some customers who I'm losing money on. Tom Whalen being one of them. Here's a job I lost money on, but I made money on another job, so I have made money from the customer as a whole. And I'm going to go ahead and close that report. That concludes the overview of Chapter 4.